So today I'm going to talk about the first time I ever really seen a demon. I don't refer to them as ghosts because I think ghost is kind of a word that's used to be friendly. Nothing about any of these apparitions are of God or positive or, like, your dead relative that you think appeared to you is definitely not your dead relative. So I just want to get that out there before we go any further. I should have just did this before I did the fucking video, but I didn't. Then you clear your throat. All the things like you do on a video that you shouldn't do. So, I've kind of told this story before, but before this happened, I really don't think I kind of believed in ghosts. I never believed in that you could see your dead relatives stuff, or that your dead relatives would appear to you and they would be friendly forces at all. Okay, because the Bible preaches against that. The Bible also says there's two spirits in the world: the Holy Spirit and the Antichrist spirit. So, with that being said, I lived in Las Vegas from 2000 to 2004, and I grew up outside of Buffalo, and I never really spent a lot of time in Buffalo as a kid. But when I moved back there in 2010, 2011, I lived in Buffalo, and I started taking up something called urban exploration, which is basically a fancy word for fucking trespassing, which I love doing, and a couple friends of mine were, it's real big, taking pictures, and I'm trying to get this glare out of there. I guess that's the best we're gonna do. Sorry. So we went to the Buffalo. I seen the Buffalo Central Terminal. I had no idea what it was until I lived in Las Vegas, and my grandfather had actually gone to World War II to New York City to get picked up by his squadron or whatever the hell it was. And Buffalo Central Terminal, I'm going to include a picture on there. You can wiki it. It's a fucking huge, like, it's the biggest, like, train station in probably New York, other than maybe the one in New York City. So we go there. I had been going there, taking pictures. I fell in love with the place. I miss the Buffalo Central Terminal. Like, it's one of the biggest things I miss about living in New York, because I spent so much time there when I was getting sober in the winter time. And those of you that explore and take pictures know it is a beautiful... Now, I never really got in the main building. The building that I got in, I'm including with arrows pointing to where I seen the demon. You could go in the Buffalo Terminal and spend 6 hours there and not see everything. You can go there... you could spend a weekend there, literally, and not see everything. Every time I went, whether it was a different time of day, or the sun was over here, the sun was over there, or it was coming up, I used to go in the morning, and it was so beautiful with the sun coming up, and the deer were out, literally, and like the rain or the dew would be dripping through, and there's, maybe a couple pigeons, and it just was so beautiful, and such a archaic kind of, like, I don't know if it's hard to describe, but it was like a crumbling, like postcard that you could visit of the past. There were papers upstairs from the 1930s and 40s from the FBI. I had gotten a bunch of papers that showed like where they stamped stuff saying this. There was papers from the company, from Workman's Comp back in the day, like real early 1950s, 60s stuff, okay? So I'd gone there with a girl under the pretense to, you know, have relations with. That's the best way I could describe it. So she went, we both knew what we were getting into. We grabbed like a couple drinks, grabbed a backpack, went over there, and we're going up the stairs to this building. And now I had like thought I've heard creepy things there, or like strange sounds, or even people talking that weren't there. But I have never seen anything. Now, keep in mind, it was on Ghost Hunters before I ever had gone, saying it was, and you know, everything they did looked staged and obviously fucking rehearsed, because that's what they do. Well, this wasn't staged, or this wasn't rehearsed, because I was trying to get laid, and we were walking up the stairs, and there's this huge, long hallway in this building on the second floor, and it's like fucking, you know, it looks like it's a mile. It's a great picture. If I could get into my old Facebook, I would show you the pictures of all the shit that I took. You know, so there's a hallway. You're on the second floor. The only way to get out of that second floor is to either go to the end of the hall and take the stairs, or jump out the window, or jump out onto the balcony, or whatever. And it's very sketchy, and you probably don't want to do that, because you're going to land on metal and glass and all kinds of shit. So we're walking up the, you know, we're talking like lovers do. We're going up the stairs. I'm just kidding, obviously. We're not talking like lovers do. We're going up the stairs, and I'm looking down the hallway, and Lisa was kind of a ditz. There's literally, like, it looked like a Halloween prop, literally, or a hologram, because you could kind of see through it. But it was this black, flowing like robe with like an evil, like, you can't even really describe the face because of how far away it was, but it was fucking evil as fuck. And like terror like shot through my heart and like made my legs weak momentarily. But as a man still trying to think about, you know, hopefully she didn't see it and we can, you know, I'm still trying to have sex, you know what I mean? So she says to me, hey, did you, what the fuck, you know, like, what the fuck was that? And I go, it looked like a ghost. And she goes, it had to be. She goes, what else was that? What else? What was it? And so it literally was floating off the ground. It went from one doorway into another doorway, but there were no feet. So it was just hanging. You know what I mean? It was just hanging. And there isn't much more to the story other than it was a black kind of apparition with a black flowy kind of robe. It looked kind of like a shadow kind of figure, but it wasn't a shadow because there was no shadow about it. It looked solid, but it wasn't solid at the same time. So that's the best way I can describe it. And, you know, we went down there, and I said, well, if this is a prank, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And there was no way out of that room. Like, there was windows that were, you know, broken and stuff, but you couldn't, like, weasel your way through the thing. So, you know, that got me to start thinking in, you know, like the dimension of, you know, the Bible talks about, you know, when the that is broken and things will be able to come and go freely from there. So I don't know. I know it's not the most groundbreaking story ever, but it happened. It's true. I mean, I'm not going to embellish it. I don't think we ever ended up having sex that day there. And it's what I remember.